activities, the soul is not doing that. That is just the body. So this type of vision, so who sees inaction in action. So despite many, many activities going on, the devotee always realizes, I am not doing anything. I, the soul, are called akarta. Akarta means the non-doer. Right? Is that how you explained it yesterday? What did you describe?
I thought we were trying to understand that akarma is the same as bhakti, right? And
Okay, yes.
nishkam karma yoga is what we do before we are purified.
Right. So that's a more complicated, more advanced way. But in a general sense, we are not doing. Like when Arjuna expressed his inability to fight. When was last time I gave class here? It was like 3 weeks ago, right? 4 weeks ago.
No, the week before last. Oh no, but
How many weeks is?
No, 3 weeks ago.
3 weeks.
When Arjuna expressed his inability to fight because he would have to kill all his relatives, the first thing Krishna explained is the soul is never killing anyone, nor is the soul killed. So in that sense, the soul is the non-performer of activity. Okay? But also, without the soul, the body cannot act also. Right? Like a dead body cannot perform any action. So it's not that the soul has no function. So in action, there are 5 considerations. You need a body, that is material nature. You need the karma, right? Madhurika wants to win the 100 meters sprint in the Olympics. That's her desire, you know. But unless she has the karma, will not be successful. So in action, there's considered prakriti, means material nature, karma, time, also the Supreme Lord, right? Without his sanction, we cannot do anything, right? So, and finally, the soul. So the soul is also an actor in the sense without the soul, no one can do anything. But in the ultimate sense, despite performing many activities, the soul does not do anything because the soul has no material action. So one who sees inaction in action, right? And who sees action in inaction, right? What you're doing? Someone's just sitting in the front of the television or just lying down. What doing? Nothing. But that is not true, because even though you are doing nothing, still you are sitting, you are breathing, you are thinking, you are existing. So who sees inaction in action and action in inaction? This is just an ordinary general way of explaining that verse. Of course, in a higher sense, karma is defined as one who performs activities separate from Krishna's pleasure. That is called karma. So the devotee who's fully engaged in bhakti yoga, despite doing many activities, they do nothing. Like because they're eating is for Krishna's pleasure, their cooking is for Krishna's pleasure, even their sleeping is for Krishna's pleasure. And so devotional service is called akarma, a non-performance of material action, because it's spiritual activity. So anyway, both ways that verse can be explained. So today I want to speak something about chapter 9, verse 2. Is there even one person from England in this? There's Simone, but who else is there?
This also Kia is here. She came 2 weeks ago for the first time, but now has come off.
Is she listening or no? Just the profile is there.
No, she's listening.
I'm listening, yes. I just have,
Okay.
messy hair, bad head.
Just remember, you're not the body. And where's, what's her name? Sinead.
Shawned, I'm not sure, Maharaj. She didn't come yesterday.
Disappearing. Missing in action. And there's missing in action. That's Sinead. So, in chapter 9, verse 23, Krishna says, Ananya chinta yukto mam yajanu nitya yukto Ananya chinta yukto mam yajanu parupasate tesham nitya yuktanam yogeksamam yaham. Right? Our minds are mad. Our minds are always engaging in materialistic thought, lamenting for the past, desire for the future, aspirations for future enjoyment, and in the present tense, in illusion. So hankering and lamentation. Hankering what I need, what I want, lamenting for what I had, and in the present, in illusion, either thinking the past or future. So the mind is very wicked. Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, no? The mind is the cause of bondage. The mind is the cause of degradation. The uncontrolled mind gives suffering and bondage, and the controlled mind gives happiness and liberation. Just like a ghee wick, or like even a candle. If the wick is too long, then it just. Or remember the old kerosene lamps? That's a better example. Remember them, Madhurika? You know what a kerosene lamp is, right?
I think so.
What is it? Tell me.
There's like a wick inside, and then you light it in the petrol.
And a glass sort of lamp, sort of light shape. So if the wick, which is burning the kerosene, is too long, then that fire just gives smoke and darkness. And also, if the wick is too small, it gives no illumination. So the mind, uncontrolled, the uncontrolled mind is like improper wick. It just gives smokiness, blackness, and confusion. When the wick is just right, that same light, that same fire gives illumination. So uncontrolled mind gives bondage, darkness, madness, and takes the soul in the repetition of birth and death. And the controlled mind gives illumination, happiness, and remembrance of Krishna. But as long as the mind is affected by goodness, passion, and ignorance, then cannot think of Krishna. So this verse, would you like to read the English for us, Madhurika?
But those who, is this the correct verse?
9 verse 23.
Yeah, that's the
22, 9:22, sorry.
this is the
But those who worship me with devotion, meditating on my transcendental form, to them I carry what they lack and preserve what they have.
Okay. Here's another change. However, for those who are devoid of material devotion. Which Gita are you using?
This is Bhagavad Gita as it is original, but I also have
I'll
this.
read this one. However, for those who are devoid of material desires, who are always absorbed in thoughts of me, and who always worship me completely with one-pointed devotion, I myself carry their necessities and preserve what they have. So Ananya Chinta, when the mind thinks of nothing else except Krishna. Right? When the soul develops attachment for Krishna, that attachment reflects in the mind. So it's not material. Okay? Even though the mind is material, it's like an abas, reflects in the mind. So I cannot think of any good example of that. So the soul is not material, but when the mind is clear and pure, then the original attachment of the soul illuminates the mind with remembrance of Krishna. Just like if you put a lamp, if you put a light bulb inside those lampshades, remember them? You know what a lampshade? Or you could just say you have a red colored light bulb. Then the whole room will appear red. If you have a green colored light bulb, the whole room will appear green. If the light bulb's clear, then that gives white light. So even though the soul is never contaminated, the soul is always pure. When the soul is covered by goodness, passion, or ignorance, then the thoughts appear contaminated. But when the mind is clear, then the real eternal nature of the soul reflects through it without any disturbance, without any interruption. Therefore, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, like if you look in a mirror, the reflection of the mirror, if the mirror is clean, then you can see the pure reflection. If the mirror is covered by dust, you cannot see your own reflection nicely. So when the mind is pure, then nicely you can see the soul's eternal nature. And of course, direct perception of Krishna is possible. So this verse, Ananyash Chinta Yukta Mam Ye Janu Parupasate, one who only thinks of me, Tesham Nityabhyuktan Yogek Shemam Bahamyam. What he needs, I give. And what he has, I protect. Okay. Hey, is anyone from Vrindavan there? Prema's listening?
Yes, Gurudev Dandavat Pranams. Yes, I'm
Prema,
translating
can you
to
send this?
Russian.
Prema, oh, sorry. You can send this link to Ananta in Australia.
Oh, yes, I will ask now devotees. Навина, надо отправить посылку
Sorry.
Ананте Диде в Австралию. Сейчас лекция. Можешь отправить? Окей.
Sorry about that.
No, Dandavat
So,
Pranams.
Krishna says, those who only think of me, what he needs, I give, and what he has, I protect. Actually, the word is Baham means I carry. So our Gurudev would tell a very beautiful story in this regard. Who only thinks of Krishna does not have to worry about their own maintenance because Krishna personally carries and gives them what they need. So in ancient times, there was a devotee called Arjuna Mishra. He was a Brahmin, very pure, and he always thought of Krishna, not like us. Anyway, myself, we are mostly like, Krishna gives the example, like there's a bird called a crane. He stands on one leg and he sits in the water like meditating. But of course, he's not meditating, he's just looking where are fish. So Krishna says one who makes a pretense of meditation while meditating on the object of the senses, Krishna calls him a hypocrite. Okay, so unfortunately, most of us are in that category. But Arjuna Mishra was not like that. Really, he always remembered Krishna. And he was also a great devotee of Bhagavad Gita. He was very attached to Bhagavad Gita. So one day he was reading this verse and he became astonished. This verse, Krishna says, I personally carry. Means what he needs, Krishna comes. Then Arjuna Mishra was looking at his own situation. He was very poor. As Gurudev would say, there were not even any mice living in his house because nothing to eat. Like in this house when we came, there were no cockroaches because no food for them to eat. But of course, since Damanama had returned, they have also returned. So he was very poor. It means if he collected something by begging and he ate that for breakfast, then he has to think what I'm going to eat at nighttime. It means that much poor. Again and again he read that verse, and again he was thinking. This verse says Krishna personally carries what the devotee needs. Then he thought, why Krishna will personally carry? Maybe Krishna will inspire someone to give Damana Maharaj a $10 donation, for example. Krishna maybe give some inspiration for someone else to provide rice or ghee or vegetables. But this verse, Krishna not says I arranged, Krishna says I personally carry. So the why Krishna will personally carry? And he says, for me, I always remember Krishna, but look at my material situation, it's quite terrible. And as yet, Krishna has not supplied anything. The more he thought about it, the more he thought this verse is wrong. They called it interpolation. Right? Someone adds something. Many times in the Bible or even Quran, even though the Muslims tell us there's only one edition of the Quran, it's not true. There's actually many, many different editions. The guys in Arabia, they use a different one from the guys in North Africa. There are different editions of the Quran also, despite what they will tell you. I think there's 9 different Qurans minimum. So anyway, what it may be, then so much added or subtracted. Like I heard in the 3rd century, there was a famous, all the Christian scholars gathered in Rome, and they wanted to make one edition of the Bible. And before there were many, many Gospels. I'm not a scholar of that, but there were many, many Gospels. Then they decided which Gospels should be kicked out, which ones should be kept. And famously there, they rejected the science of reincarnation. They thought if people understand I get another chance next life, they won't become very serious. Anyway. But the problem if people don't understand about reincarnation, they're not going to become very serious this life. No? So whatever it may be. So this is called interpolation, when people add something or subtract from a scripture. So when Arjuna Mishra thinking, then he thought this verse must have been added. Something must have been changed here, because I cannot see any real proof of this verse in my own life. So thinking, he became so much absorbed, he took a pen and crossed out. Gurudev said with red ink, he crossed out those 3 lines from his Bhagavad Gita. So just the only thing remaining was Ananyas Chinta, Ananyas Chinta, one who only thinks of me. As he thought that, then morning time he would do meditation, then he went out for his daily collection. Every day he would go and try and collect something to eat for him and his wife. But how astonishingly, today, no one gave even 1 rupee. Now, there's many excuses you can give to not give a donation. Of course, a bit hard for us. When someone asks for change, we just lie. No, I don't have any money. But in India, if someone's relative dies, then that family is considered impure for a certain number of days. A Brahmin, it's like 30 days, like this. A Kshatriya, it's like 20 days. I cannot remember. So everywhere he went, I have nothing. I cannot give you. It's called asoch. My family is impure. So even though he went many, on Thursday, my dole check comes. I cannot give anything now. I get paid next month. So he went to many houses, but he could not secure even 1 grain of rice. So as he was outside traveling like that, then his wife was home, and his wife was so poor, they only had 1 nice cloth. So when Arjuna Mishra went begging, he would wear like the nice cloth, and his wife would be stuck home wearing the rags. Because cloth should have some minimum standard of covering the body, no? So as Arjuna Mishra was fruitlessly tiring, trying to collect something to eat, then on his door came 1 knock. And he thought, who is this? The wife thought, who is this? And that said, oh, Guru Ma, open the door. So Guru Ma means the wife of the spiritual master, the wife of the Guru. Guru Ma, open the door. And the wife became astonished because she knew her husband had no disciples. So she said, oh, how are you a disciple of my husband? My husband has no disciples. Then it was the voice of a boy, very sweet voice. No, I am disciple of your husband. Please open the door. But because her cloth was so old, No, she could not. She, out of shame, she could not open the door because the cloth was not covering her body. She was so much poor. Understand how much poor they were. So understanding the situation, this boy passed his own cloth, his own chadar, which was yellow color that the lady could cover herself. So who is that boy knocking on outside the door? Who was it, Madhurika? Have a guess?
Krishna.
Okay, lucky guess. So the lady covering herself in Krishna's own cloth, she wrapped it around her shoulders. She opened the door and she saw this very handsome boy, very handsome, very slender, very delicate. And he was carrying, like in China, they have, they have a pole on each end, they have a basket. I don't know the proper term. And so each of these two baskets that the boy was carrying was full of cheese, sour cream, spaghetti, sabjis, rice, dal, many coconut oil, many coconuts, ghee, many things. Like in each basket was like 15, 20 kilos, like packed full. And she became astonished how so much food she'd never seen for maybe many years, never seen so much food in one place. Oh, the boy said, your husband collected this and then told me to carry it. Then this boy was perspiring because it was a hot day and there's so much load. Then the lady became very angry. My husband is such a rascal. He's externally making such a show of being a very pious and simple Brahmin. But he have no mercy even on a small child like this. He makes him carry 40 kilos, like Shamala makes people carry their 100-kilo suitcases. So she became seeing this boy and how much trouble he was carrying the basket. Then her heart melted. Come inside, my boy, come inside. And this boy was very handsome, very sweet, like Cupid. So this lady felt so much vatsalya, so much parental affection towards this boy. She brought him inside. And then she saw this boy had 3 scratches on his back. And she inquired, oh my son, what happened to you? Look, your back has been scratched and bleeding. And the boy said, your husband did this to me. Because Bhagavad Gita is Krishna's own body. It's Krishna himself. Therefore, the scriptures like Bhagavatam, we never put on the floor, right? We never take in the bathroom. We never touch with our feet. We never keep it in an impure place. We never touch it with dirty hands and stuff. Even we should not read it lying down. No. So Bhagavad Gita is non different than Krishna. So, when the lady heard this, she became more angry at her husband. How he could beat such a small child like you? Yes, because he said, carry this now. And I said, just give me a few minutes. He could not tolerate. No, I want now. And he beat me. So the lady was very disturbed by this. Oh, and she began, speaking ill about her husband. He's such a hypocrite and such a pretender. How could he beat such a small child? So anyway, she said to the boy, you must be very hungry. Please sit here. Just wait, quick. I cook something from all these nice foodstuffs. I make a little offering to Thakurji. Then please, you take breakfast. So as the lady was cooking, she was talking with this boy. So meanwhile, the boy said, I have to go. I just want to go and wash my hands and feet, something like that. The boy little escaped the room. At that moment, the door knocked. It was the husband, but the lady did not want to let him in the house because of his behavior. Get away from here, you cruel and selfish man, you monster. Like this. Then the husband was shocked because his wife was always so much gentle and refined. First time in life he had heard his wife speaking to him like that. So he said, oh, what's wrong with you? Are you crazy? Am I crazy? You're the one who's crazy. What do you mean? You sent that boy with all that food and then you beat him? And Brahman now thinking maybe because of malnutrition, my wife has gone crazy. What food? All day I am begging, I could not collect even one chapati. And what boy? I not collect, there's no boy I sent here with food. So both could not understand each other. The man came inside, he saw these huge baskets of food. Where did all this come from? Then the lady said, your disciple brought it. Are you crazy, woman? I have no disciple. No, no. And she described him. He's blackish complexion. His teeth are like pearls. His nose is like sesame. His eyes are like very beautiful. This is your boy. He carried all this food for you. So then the husband was fully bewildered because he had not seen it, he had not met any boy, had not collected anything. Which boy are you talking about? Which boy? Oh, he's just there. They went, they could not find him. He had disappeared. So then all they could find was one little piece of yellow thread from Krishna's dhoti. Then when the lady described everything, how the boy looked like, he was darkish like a rain cloud. His eyes were like very handsome. His voice was sweet, like millions of cuckoos. Then the Arjuna Mishra had a doubt. So he ran in and he saw the 3 lines that he'd crossed, that he'd used to scratch out those 3 lines of chapter 9, verse 22. Those 3 lines had gone, and the original script was there. Then that Arjuna Mishra began to weep bitterly. Oh, really? Krishna carries. When the devotee only thinks of me, Krishna carries. That he so much lamented, he said to his wife, you had so much good fortune, you could see Krishna. I could not see him because of my atheism. And he so much glorified his wife. In this way, again, with renewed faith, with renewed taste, he began studying Bhagavad Gita again. So, how do we know someone has faith? Faith is reflected in one's activities. In the Bible, Jesus said, faith without action is dead. It means you cannot say, I believe in something while acting in an opposite way. Right? So how do we know that someone has actual transcendental faith, paramatik shraddha? The halo, that faith which is awoken in the soul, that faith will reflect in that person in 6 ways. So there will be 6 limbs of surrender, saranagati. Faith means surrender in Krishna. That is the nature of faith. And how do we know there's faith? Faith will be seen in 6 actions. One who has faith, then anukulyasya sankalpa. Whatever is favorable for Krishna, they will do. Simeon, do you do Ekadasi?
Is that the fasting?
Yep.
I did do it on the first day I was here with you. I did it the following day.
Right. When's your Ekadasi, Madhurika?
It's coming soon, I think. Maybe
It's tomorrow.
Coming soon. Coming soon.
Tomorrow.
It's tomorrow.
Okay.
Coming soon. Good God. What day is your mother's birthday? Madhurika? Yeah, don't forget that, do you? How could you forget Ekadasi, which is thousands of times more important? So, tomorrow's Ekadasi, right? Ekadasi is the mother of fasting. Ekadasi is called the mother of devotion. And child is devotion, Bhakti Devi. So Ekadasi is a little hard, maybe. Ekadasi means no tea, no coffee, no alcohol, celibacy, right? One should not eat any type of grains or beans like bread, pasta, or oils made from these things like rice, what they called rice bran oil and all these things, soya oil. One should not eat any type of grains or beans. one should fast, but if one cannot fast fully, one can take roots and fruits. Roots means like peanuts, potatoes, and fruits means like apples, nuts, and seeds. So it's difficult because normally we're just like, right, Madurka, just stick in the mouse without thinking. That's your general program, right? But Ekadasi, it means there should be some control. I should look. I always have to be careful what I'm eating. No, it's a little difficult to even fast. If we cannot fast completely, at least till midday, we should fast. So it's a little difficult. No, it's an austerity. But even though it's difficult to perform, still, devotee who has faith, I must do it because it's so much favorable for devotion. So what is good for devotion, like waking up early, taking bath, chanting the holy names, remembering Guru mantras, right? All these offering food which we've cooked, offering to Krishna. So these activities must be performed. So who will perform them? Only one who has faith. In the same way, anukulyasa sakalpa pratikulyasa vajanam. I should not do which is unfavorable for bhakti. Right? Useless thinking, watching useless rubbish on YouTube, pornography, gambling, intoxication, meat eating, illicit sex life, all these horrible activities. Because they destroy devotion, I should not do. So these, I will do what is favorable. What is unfavorable, I will avoid. Krishna will always maintain me. What I need, Krishna will give. Krishna will provide. Right, Madhurika? No need to work like a donkey. Why? Krishna will maintain me. Krishna will protect us. We're always thinking, oh, this politician, he'll protect me. The police force, they will protect me. This wife or husband, she will protect me. He will protect me. Or maybe my own body will protect me. But no. Only one thing will give full protection, that is Krishna himself. So Krishna will maintain me, Krishna will protect me. No? Devotee, even though may be very great, always think of themselves as very fallen, very low. So this karapanya. Atmavikshept means always thinking oneself to be very humble, very fallen, very low. So these 6 things will be there in the life of a devotee. But of all of them, the feeling Krishna will maintain me. This is the main, this is like the body. And the limbs are the other 5. So this feeling should be very strong. Devotee may work or may not work, but still they never think these things will protect me, these things will maintain me. Always the devotee feels Krishna is my only maintainer. In life and in death. So anyway, today we can think about this. Anukulyasa sampakalpa pratikulyasa rakshishyati biswasa goptate vadanam tata. Krishna will maintain. Okay, Krishna, what are you eating?
I'm eating some porridge.
You offered it first, right?
I have now. I haven't eaten it yet, so I will offer it.
Okay, because any food not offered to Krishna is like eating stool. It says, no? Anabhistam jalamutram Vishnu anavedanam. Any food not offered to Vishnu, that grain is like stool, and even that water is like urine. Anyway, just giving you something to think about before you have breakfast. Right? So,
Thank you.
So anyway, this is all Bhagavad Gita. So chapter 9, verse 23. Of course, the mind is mad, very hard to control the mind. My God. Right? In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna, I think Arjuna says, easier to control the wind, easier to control the ocean than to control the mind. Right? Who can control the wind? No one. What to speak of who can control the ocean? impossible. In the same way, to control the mind, also very, very difficult. Arjuna, when Arjuna says that, Krishna says, but still the mind can be controlled by two things, abhyas and vairagya, detachment. Detachment means, and constant practice means what? Constant practice means I should always be hearing. If we cannot hear, just like a knife is not sharpened, it cannot cut anything. So the intelligence is not sharpened by topics of Krishna, topics of attachment to Krishna, then the intelligence cannot control the mind. No? Intelligence is a higher thing than the mind. Like we see a piece of cake, a chocolate cake, or whatever, sweet rice. It looks good, smells good, tastes good, feels good, nice and warm. But someone says, no, I've put poison in it. Even though the senses are attracted to it because it looks good, the intelligence will say, no, don't do it because it's bad for you. So in this way, the intelligence can control the mind and senses. So when the intelligence is refined by topics of Krishna, then you can control the mind and senses. Like there's a beautiful, Madhurika sees a nice boy. Right? Looks good, sounds good, smells good, looks good. Right? That he has nice, strong muscles, blah, blah, all these things. Right? The five objects of the senses, taste, form, smell, taste, touch. So all these are personified in the opposite sex. Right? The perfection of all sense objects is there in the opposite sex. But still, even though such a strong attachment, the mind will say, no, Madhurika, don't do it. Because if you end up thinking of that boy 24 hours a day, how do you remember Krishna? So if the intelligence is sharpened and purified by constant topics of Krishna, then you can control the mind and senses. That is called abhyas. Abhyas means constant practice. Like even a child cannot walk in one day. Gradually, many months, holding the mother's finger and helping him up himself up against the wall. After many, many months, he can walk. Then after a few more months, he can run, blah, blah. So in this world, nothing is achieved without practice. So how to control the mind? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. By this constant practice, the mind can be controlled. And that constant practice means also I should detach myself from what is not helpful for devotion. Useless topics, useless foodstuffs, useless association, useless friendships, useless relationships, useless activities. Right? So by detachment and practice, one can control the mind. Otherwise, very, very difficult. So are there any questions from the people? Hare Krishna, anyone want to say anything? Anuradha, anything to say? So
Thank you so much for lecture.
Sometimes our mind is overwhelmed by anger. Sometimes our mind is overwhelmed by some foolish desire, or some lust, or some greed, or some enviness, or some illusion. 6 enemies are there. So momentarily the devotee may be defeated. No, it doesn't mean you should spend your life like that. Again, we come up. Again, by practice, again, we reestablish ourselves. So we should not be known by our failures. We should be known according to our goal. So failure means when we cease trying, when we cease endeavoring. Even though sometimes we may be defeated by the 6 enemies, lust, greed, anger, madness, illusion, and envy. Sometimes the devotee may be defeated by these 6 enemies, but by satsang, by association, by practice, again they control. Okay, so just a little short class. So I'm here in Australia. Howdy ball. Nothing much going on here. Just waiting for my Russian invitation. And we'll see all devotees soon. Thank you very much.
I was just going to say something.
Yes.
So the chapter 9, verse 22, we just did it, and it reminded me of what we were doing yesterday, chapter 4, verses 16, whatever. It's like the allowing of Krishna to provide in that complete devotion and trust at all times is the same as the lesson of action in inaction and inaction in action, in a way, because so the husband went out and all dressed up he was doing, basically, he was acting, action, and nothing came. And then for his wife, there was a metaphor of inaction with nothing and something around.
Yes, of course, must be there. Sometimes we do so much, but cannot get the result, no?
Exactly.
Some people work whole life to get money, cannot get. And some people like Prince Charles, Prince Andrew, do nothing, but it all comes to them. That's what, right? For example, maybe not a good example, but still. Some people by doing nothing get everything. And some people do everything but get nothing. Therefore, karma is one of the action, and karma is one of the results, one of the ingredients in any activity.
And then the other thought
action,
was, and the other thought was on this last bit, which is like, so to control, the controlling of the mind is very hard, and all we can really do, you could say the non-attachment to the thoughts, but it's just the awareness is to catch the thoughts, to see them as they come, and then go, okay, this is, and then that's the practice of the awareness of them.
Thinking, feeling, willing. No? Therefore, Krishna gives that. From contemplation comes attachment. From that attachment becomes deeper, then becomes lust. No? Thinking, feeling, and then I will. When lust becomes very powerful, I will do it. No? Then one falls into the material ocean. Okay, Krishna, where are you from?
I'm from a place called Devon in the United Kingdom.
Very nice.
Of course, I've heard about it. You're vegetarian?
Yeah, well, vegan for the cows, you know?
Ah, okay. Have you been to Brinda? Have you been to India?
No, I might be going this year with Madhurika.
Oh, nice. Sell that kidney and get on the flight. Come for Kartik or come before.
Krishna will provide.
You're not married, are you? No.
No.
Okay. Come for a few months then, if it's possible.
I'll do my best.
Okay, everyone. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Radhe Radhe. Tomorrow is Ekadasi. Tomorrow is Ekadasi, right? So, Simon, if you do it, then little bit also comes to me, a little bit of result. So, hey, ring up Sinead and also tell her to do Ekadasi, okay? Okay. Haribol.
Very good.